Hello everyone, welcome back to The Current. In this episode, we'll share our 3 most recent minis, as well as our newest TE footprints, and a report from the Alumni Gala. For our first mini, did you know TE has a history at the Rugby Sevens? Take a look.
Did you guys see people in crazy costumes wandering around Hong Kong this past weekend? There were thousands of them, but it wasn't for Halloween. That was for this year's Rugby Sevens, a super popular, prestigious event that has taken place every year, except during COVID, for the past 42 years at the Hong Kong Stadium in Causeway Bay. Teams come from around the world, and it's a highlight of the international rugby calendar and a significant sports event in Hong Kong. The New Zealand Blacks repeated with victories from both their men and women's team. It was super exciting. They even did their traditional Hakka dance. This year was special with more people dressing up than ever because this year was the event's last year at Hong Kong Stadium. It's the end of a long tradition in which all the partiers and costume people were always the craziest in the South Stand. This year, the line into the South Stand peaked at 2 p.m. and the wait was almost 3 hours just to get into that magical section of the stadium. Starting next year, Rugby Sevens will be held at the new TIC Sports Park, which will be completed by the end of this year at the former TIC Airport site in Kowloon. Now hold on, why should you students, who most likely know nothing about rugby, care? Because TEians have vetted most of the recent Rugby Sevens. That's right, TE's Rock Band Club has a tradition of sending bands to perform on the side stages hosted by Y-Rock, Hong Kong's leading educational and performance opportunity platform for youth musicians. This year we sent one of our alumni bands, Midnight Wonder, to the Sevens, who were not able to play previously because they peaked as a student band during COVID when Rugby Sevens was cancelled. They performed all original songs from their upcoming debut album. You should definitely check them out on their IG account and support your fellow TEians. Once a TEian, always a TEian. And let's hope that the Rugby Sevens tradition continues, and next year, more of you can join in the fun at TIC and show your support for the TE Rock Band Club. And you can put on crazy costumes too.
Great job, Rock Band Club. Fingers crossed the tradition of playing at Rugby Sevens continues. Our next mini shares an idea that might help Hong Kong restaurants. Here it is.
Why are all those raiders running down the street? As Paris counts down to a 2024 Olympics this summer, they have revived a much-loved tradition, the 110-year-old waiters race, a cafe waiters race, which was held just a couple weeks ago. The 2 km race celebrated the men and women who make France's cafes and bistros tick. It's been held on and off since 1914, and around 200 participants suited up in traditional white shirts, black trousers, neatly tied aprons, and in some cases, bow ties. Each carried a tray loaded with a croissant, a full glass of water, and an empty coffee cup. The goal, of course, was to cross the finish line as quickly as possible without running, spilling, or carrying the tray with 2 hands. At the same time, they were also judged on how much liquid they had spilled. The men's winner finished in 13 minutes and 13 seconds, while the women's winner clocked in at 14 minutes and 12 seconds. They each won a medal and a night stay in a fancy hotel and 2 tickets to the Olympic opening ceremony this summer. Why should we students care? Because Hong Kong has done the waiters race too. It hasn't happened for a couple years, but we think this is the perfect time to start it up again. Why? Because we all know restaurants are struggling right now, and more Hong Kongers went traveling over Easter than tourists visited. So the restaurant industry could really use a boost. Let's get them racing, and then let's have our parents take us to some new Hong Kong restaurants.
That's so cool! The tradition of a waiters race in Hong Kong is actually much deeper. But we agree, a race might help draw attention to the play of restaurants. For our third mini, we looked at a very important issue for all of you, data privacy.
School is looking at my browsing history on my personal device. That's a hard lesson learned recently by students at a top school in Hong Kong, where there was suddenly a big fuss because their school had collected their iPads and tablets and checked their histories and app installations too, as the school reported. Better understand understand student usage of tablet computers and ensure devices were being used properly. What the heck? Students were concerned that their personal information was being mishandled and claimed that their personal data had been backed up on USB drives and software installed to monitor their activities even after school hours. What? Seriously? The school responded that that was not the case, but that only a small sample of devices approved under the Bring Your Own Device policy had been checked for their browsing history, app installation, and execution logs during school hours that were collected using a USB, and all data had been permanently destroyed afterwards. The school had done this because there were concerns that students were downloading and playing too many video games during school. It stressed that the move was based on a device usage policy that parents and students had both signed and agreed to. Basically, the anonymous tip misrepresented what had occurred, and no complaints were actually ever received by the policy commissioner for personal data. Whoa. First, not smart, students. Second, that was a lot of hullabaloo because of an anonymous comment. Anyhow, what's the message for Hong Kong students? Nothing you do online is ever truly private, especially if you do it at school during school hours. Don't ever think that it is. Be safe, wise, and careful what you do and where you go online, because while TE will never monitor your data like that, whether you like it or not, some bad characters out there somewhere on the internet can always dig deep and find a way to see what you did. It is what it is.
What is one lesson from that? Don't play video games at school. Next, we bring you a special two-person footprints episode.
Hi teens, I'm Daniel Lam, a graduate and one of the DSE top scorers in 2023. Right now, I'm studying quantitative finance in CUHK.
Hi, I'm Nick Wong, a graduate of 2021 and a DSE top scorer. Right now, I'm majoring in economics and finance in my third year at the University of Hong Kong.
I studied physics, economics, and M1 when I was in TE.
When I was in senior form, I studied economics and BAFS as my elective subjects.
As a survivor of the DSEs, here are my study tips for you TEs. First, don't just memorize the whole syllabus without thinking. You have to understand the concepts behind each topic to truly have a better and deeper understanding. Then it won't be just about spitting out everything you memorized, but sharing true knowledge.
My tips for students would be that in order to achieve good results in your tests and exams, never be a deadline fighter and start studying just a few days or even hours earlier. Spend some time every weekend to review the topics you have learned that week. That is the key to success.
Second, review every question you have ever gotten wrong and make a notebook citing all those questions for revision. If you don't do this, you'll most likely get those same questions wrong again.
My glorious moments in school must be the experiences with the boys' football team. We trained together for 6 years and had great team spirit. We won and lost together as a team. And even if we lost the match, we would always come back stronger.
When I think about my most glorious moment at TE, it has to be when I was announced a DSE top scorer. At that moment, I knew all my hard work had paid off.
The craziest thing I ever did in school was definitely sleeping overnight on the floor of the school canteen with my teammates from the 30th anniversary overseas expedition to Kyrgyzstan. We were supposed to have been doing camping training outside, but the poor weather conditions brought us inside and gave us this unique experience.
As a crazy moment, there are so many, but I'll keep those to myself.
TE has given me a lot of experiences to participate in OLE, other learning activities. I really appreciate that.
Now I'm working in a dorm as a tutor because I miss this place so much. I also want to pass on my experience to my fellow TEs and help them overcome obstacles in studying.
I want to try my best to contribute to TE. As a dorm tutor, I aim to encourage students in the dorm to strive for academic improvement and to maintain a balanced school life at the same time.
Finally, my message to all of you is to cherish the moments you have at TE. The memories you make here will be your most treasured ones, along with those you made at university or your workplace in the future.
My message to students and boarders would be that your 6 years at TE will pass in the blink of an eye. Cherish every moment and grab every opportunity. Strive for the best and live your TE life without regrets.
Bye!
Such good advice. Thank you, Nick and Daniel. And finally, here's a report on the Alumni Gala. The day after the adventure run, Jockey Club TE College hosted another 35th anniversary event, the Alumni Gala. Some of the fun from the adventure run rolled over as teachers, students, alumni, and alumni's children enjoyed activities around campus. Some enjoyed special activities in the covered playground. Some stretching lessons. Some board games and activities. And others, ball games and other activities on the basketball court. It was a great day, seeing everyone come out. Thanks! And let's keep on celebrating the 35th anniversary of TE. Well, that's it for this episode of The Current. Please continue to share more ideas of minis you want to see on the comment form. And as always, if you want to see everything first, follow us on Instagram. Username, The Current TIC. See you next time. Bye!